Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you who are following online this event. Good afternoon, Iure. Thank you so much for your presence, for your time. I know that you're very busy, so we very appreciate that you accept to be with us today to present just not visa options and how our community, global talent, as we like to call them, that are interested to come to Brazil or that are already in Brazil could possibly be working and get a visa to legally work in Brazil, but to also answer the question that might risen after we present those options. Thank you for everyone to be present with us. And before we start, I have a small presentation just to give you a bit of context. I'm Chloe. I think I should have started from the beginning. I'm Chloe. I'm Belgian, work in Brazil for the last 2 years. I'm originally from Belgium, as I said, and I myself went through the sometimes very harsh funnel of how to get working visa in Brazil. And I would have really, really appreciated to have one of those kind of resources at the time. I also would take advantage of, now that we are introducing ourselves, to say hi. I can see that people keep on joining us. Be very welcome. You have here on Livestorm both a chat where you can interact with us and both a question box. Please put your question in the question box or in the chat, but ask everything you want to know or any doubts that you might have regarding those subjects. We're here to answer you. So I would like first to share a little bit about our work here at Le Wagon, what we do. Unlock your potential learning tech skills today is our objective and what we have to propose. Today, we're here to talk about global talents, that is you. And I'm very happy to be starting this series of events that's going to be going on this week, starting today with Iure, and learning about legal insights for our national talents and potential students of our bootcamps. And thank you, Iure, again. Later in the week, we also have 2 other events related to global talents. One is directed to our Brazilian community that turned into remote worker abroad, and a second meeting with international students that came studying with us in Brazil and are now working in Brazil. Stay tuned if you haven't registered yourself to participate to those events. We are sharing information about those coming up events along the week. A bit about Le Wagon. Le Wagon is the global leader in immersive tech training since 2013. It has been created in Paris and is now broadly expanded around the world. I might give you a little bit of a sneak peek. This is Le Wagon today, nowadays, but it started in Paris initially. What is our objective? What is the aim of Le Wagon? To give you a start in a new career, in a tech career. In that case, we receive regularly people from all different kind of backgrounds who wish to integrate the tech industry. But it's also boot camps and courses that are targeting people. Targeting is not the word, that are made for people that are already in the tech industry but wants to upskill in a different area, and both mixed together and makes this community as rich as it is. Our courses are available both on campus here in Rio de Janeiro and in São Paulo, or online everywhere that you might be in the world. Those courses are both available in full-time format and part-time format, both as intensive and aimed to be a training in technology and IA. Today we count 26,000 people, which is a huge and large community. As I already showed you, we have more than 40 campuses around the world. Here we are in Latin America. And it's also a community not so from people integrating big tech companies, but it's also a bootcamp where big entrepreneurial projects rise and just take lives. And $1 billion has already been risen from those entrepreneurial projects. What is our methodology and our values? We believe in close and continuous support. Le Wagon aims to be completely different from any kind of education institution that you might have known before. So you have one teacher per each 7 students. So it allows us to have follow-up that is very close and to give you all the support that you need from people from the field. Or teacher also have market experience. You always learn, so you are never alone, and you work on real startup projects. You go out of our bootcamps with something tangible in your portfolio, and obviously, and I think it is the main information, if you have to remind something from this small presentation, is that at Le Wagon we put all the focus on practice, and you learn by doing. This is a bit about the outcomes, about our alumni or graduated that gets out of the boot camps. That's the ratio of the profession that they integrate after being graduated. Usually it turns around 3 months that they need to insert themselves in the market. And a median salary in euros, because those data comes from headquarters in Europe. A bit about our alumni. This is the big tech that our alumni integrates. Obviously, 26,000 people. We have a diversity of career paths. I strongly suggest that you visit our website to learn more about all the others. Through also what we call alumni story, and more in depth our course, our classes, what we call our boot camps, because they're intensive courses between 200 hours and 400 hours. Very extensive classes, very extensive curriculum that aims to form you to a new professional, a developer, a data scientist, a data engineer. When you get out of a bootcamp, you are ready to integrate the market. That is the aim. We obviously have web development and AI, data science and AI, data analytics and data engineering. So you have a variety of subjects to choose from, the one that you identify the most. All of them are available in full-time or part-time, as I said, between 2.5 months and 6 months of training. And all are available on campuses here in Brazil, in São Paulo, or fully online from wherever you are in the world. I believe I've talked enough now. If you have any question regarding question box, we will be super happy to answer. And I'm going to also put a few links in the chat for you to check after this presentation, this conversation, to be true, because I wish it to be more dynamic than just a presentation. Also, I'm calling you again, participate to the conversation, ask your question, interact. You're always welcome. Iure, do we have a preference about the one that you want to start with? Maybe we start with digital nomad.
Yes, I think so. It's a trendy visa, so I think it's a good idea.
So I think that the first question, a person that would that would ask you, we forgot to say, Iure obviously works for a law firm that is Pontes Vieira Advogados. You are presentially, you have a physical firm in São Paulo and Fortaleza, in Northeast, but you obviously attend the demands of people from other states in Brazil. So someone that is a foreigner and wants to work in the south or in the north or any other states of Brazil can look up for you and ask and require your services, even though they're not in Brazil, and obviously outside of São Paulo or Rio, that are the economic capitals, right?
Exactly.
Sorry.
So, Chloe, thanks for having me. It's a good opportunity to speak with you, to speak for everybody around the world, and thanks for Wagon. So Brazil created it's a new kind of visa. In fact, in Brazil, Brazilian government tried to update the needs to help the foreigners to come to Brazil. So the digital nomad is a temporary visa, and you can get this visa for up to 1 year, but you can renew for 1 more year if the conditions that you receive the first permit is still available. So when you talk about digital nomad, the Brazilian authority asks you, of course, the contract with the Brazilian company, with the foreign company, and this contract, you need to show for Brazilian authority that you work or you provide service remotely. So it's necessary, it must be written in this document that you work remotely using, of course, IT technology. One thing it's important to have almost the visa in Brazil, you can ask and you can apply from abroad or from here. It's a good news from 2017. The Brazil changed the legislature and permit that once you are here, you are foreigner, you are here, and you can apply the visa from here. Only in some few exceptions is not possible to apply from here. So when you apply from abroad, you need to apply to Brazilian consulary on Brazilian embassy from near from your home, your country. So you need to have the contract linked between you and the foreign company. It's not possible to apply if you have the local link, the local labor link with the Brazilian company, because in this case you need to apply for another kind of visa. So we need to the relationship, legal relationship with the foreign company that shows that you work remotely. You need to have insurance, and you show that you have means to be here. So the legislation said, or this foreign company pay you as a monthly salary, at least $1,500 per month, or if you have saving on your bank account, $18,000. So you can choose one or another one. And one thing it's important, you need to have to show the Brazilian authority your criminal record. So, Chloe, in fact, there are the mandatory documentation. But if you want, we can explain and give some tips after.
I think that everybody's interested. That's something that is quite stressful, and regulations are different in any countries. Some ask you to translate, some ask you more documents. People that starts from scratch, as I did 2.5 years ago, really don't know where to begin. So to apply for a digital nomad visa, I'm employed by a European company, let's say a Belgian one. Let's take my case. I work for a Belgian company, but that sends me on a mission, or that allows me to remotely work for an indefinite time. That because I'm very lucky and I have this opportunity and flexibility. What are the basic documents that both if I'm still in Belgium or if I'm already in Brazil, because that's something important that you said, you can apply for the digital nomad visa even though you're already in Brazil, but then you will need to have your document with you. So small tips: when you travel, try to have a copy of your documents, or in many European countries, and maybe other countries that I don't know, I speak from my experience, you can have your document as criminal records and how is it called in English? Birth certificate. I was close. Birth certificate. You can request it online and make it stamped digitally. So thanks to tech, nowadays those kind of things are solved pretty quickly and easily. But it's still nice and handy to have it with you, knowing that criminal records needs to be not outdated by 3 months, right? So it's a document that usually you provide when it's fresh and recent. Other things that you need to know, like how many
what the first things that you think to know? First, get your birth certificate valid. Why you need your birth certificate? In fact, to show your full parent's name. Because when you arrive in Brazil, you get and you apply with federal police your ID card, Brazilian ID card for foreigner. So in this foreign ID card for the Brazilian foreign card named RNM, they show your both name of your both parents, mother and father, in full name. But in some countries, it's possible to have this information of the parent's name in your passport. But this is the exception. So you need your birth certificate, okay? You need your criminal record with nothing, clean. So why the Brazilian authority asked that? And all the foreign documents draft in foreign language must be translated. But you need to remember that you need this foreign document here in Brazil, and do the sworn translation in Brazil with the Brazilian sworn translator. Because if you do in your country and arrive here, it's not valid. So the first thing is take the version that you have, the authentic version. The second point is you need to legalize the document, because think that all the foreign documents to be valid in Brazil must be legalized and translate. When you legalize something in Brazil, Brazil make part of the Apostille Convention. So instead of go to the Brazilian embassy to legalize the document, now it's possible to speak with your local authority to apostolize your document. So before arriving in Brazil, think that legalize all your documents, and so what I said, Chloe, because one tip that it's good to mention is when you apply from abroad, you need to have the health insurance. But when you arrive in Brazil, it's not necessary. So it's not necessary to have the health insurance, because the health insurance, the international health insurance, can be expensive. So of course, when you apply from abroad, that means that you need to show the documentation to the Brazilian embassy in Brazil consular. You need to have this health insurance, but when you are in Brazil, you don't. So I think you can pay. It's less expensive to apply here from Brazil. So one kind of tip that you need to think.
Yeah, a reminder that we are talking about the option, the possibility of you applying for digital nomad visa while you are in Brazil. But you also can do this, I believe, through your Brazilian consulate or embassy in your local authority, as Iure said. And then therefore, I imagine that the documents that are in national language are stamped, legalized through the local authority, brought to the consulate or the embassy, and then there is no problem of translation and stuff. But we are talking here about the option, the possibility of you applying for digital nomad visa while you are here in Brazil, far away from your country, and you need to prove to Brazil that the information that you provide are true. And it's actually very interesting because Belgium is one of the exceptions that doesn't have the parent's name in the passport. I actually don't know what are the countries that have parents' name in the passport, but in Brazil, it's an information that is regularly asked. So that is why your birth certificate is systematically required, and it's very, very important information, because I have myself what we said, that is the RNM, that is registered. I'm translating literally. Register National for Migrants. So this is your identification as a migrant, as an expat in Brazil. You receive a number, and I'm taking advantage that we're talking about the RNM to jump on this subject, because that's something that I've asked myself when I received this card and this number. What kind of rights gives me the RNM, Iure?
When you have the ID card, you can open a bank account. I think the first thing that's really important too.
Essential.
With the bank account, you pay everything. You can receive money, So you can Chloe can explain better. For example, you have some expenses in Brazil paid by a system named boleto. So boleto is something that you only can pay if you have a Brazilian bank account. So with this Brazilian card, you have almost the same right as the Brazilian citizen. Maybe you can vote, but it's not something as a political right, but almost the same right. You can go to the hospital, because in Brazil have the public system, so you can go to receive treatment without paying nothing, without payment. So with this card, it's really important to have. And of course, and you be yeah, Chloe, something interesting to explain that we have a tax number named CPF is completely different from ID card. The CPF, it's only a number that you can have even as you not a resident in Brazil. You know, of course, in Brazil, when you are here, you live in Brazil, all the time the people ask you your CPF. But it's with the CPF, it's not mean that you are a resident in Brazil. A resident in Brazil, when you apply for a visa, you get it and you go to the federal police and get your card.
Yes, exactly. And that's something that was very surprised is because actually this fiscal number, that is the CPF, that's something that you get very early on when you get to Brazil. Actually got mine as a tourist because that's something that is make parts of the day to day. If you want to buy a ticket to go to a party, an event, or if you want to buy, let's say, an omnibus trip to go visit around, you will be asked your CPF to identify yourself. And that's something that is quite odd for us foreigners because we have everything concentrated in one identification number. In here, both are very important and they have different objectives and work in different ministries. So Brazil is quite bureaucratic in the sense that they love bureaucracy a lot. So you have a lot of process, you have different numbers and a lot of paperwork. And that's exactly why we thought we organized this event, this conversation today, is because it can get quite frightening to see everything that needs to be done and how things are related to each other. So again, I can see that people joined us on the go. Be very welcome. Please ask us your questions. If you want, you can maybe say where you're from, where do you watch this conversation from in the world. We're very interested to know where you guys are from. I'm here in Rio. Iure, where are you?
I'm in São Paulo today.
So here we are representing Rio and São Paulo already. Please let us know where you are currently in the chat. Let's interact a bit. And I would like to ask something that is from someone that is very practical and maybe has an agenda and wants to organize herself or himself. How long would it take to have this visa delivered, and what are the costs, more or less?
Yeah, and when you apply from abroad, first thing is depends on the agenda of the consular, but you need to think in 2 months to prepare everything and get it, because when you go to the consular and apply there, you receive a stamp in your passport, the visa. So in that moment, you have 90 days to arrive in Brazil and register before the federal police. So in that moment, you show everything again, the criminal record that already you have shown before. And this moment is to give the document to federal police to fabricate your card. But in that moment, when you're there in the federal police, you receive already your number, ID number. So with this ID number, the protocol, you can start your things in Brazil. So think about 2 months, a little more when you apply from abroad. In Brazil, you take much less, I think, time because you don't need to lose that this time in the consular. You apply for the visa, the system. After that, you can go directly to federal police. So 45 days in this, like it's the period. And about the money, the cost, you have two costs. You have the cost for applying the visa, and you have the cost to fabric the card. It's to apply, it's something 109 reais, and to fabricate it's 265 reais. So it's not expensive. I think so. Yeah, it's. I think, and don't forget, if you are here, you don't pay. It's not necessary to have the health international insurance. Of course, if you want, I think it's good to have because you are living in a different country. But when you apply for me, it's not mandatory.
Very good to know. Very good to know because international health insurance tends to be quite expensive. So, Viva o SUS, as we say here in Brazil. Iure already mentioned that here public health is a system that most of the time works pretty well. And again, I was very surprised as a Belgian who always paid all the meds and any type of medical assistance I've always paid. In Brazil, the system is a bit different, and it's a very good thing that I personally believe the other countries should copy, but that's another conversation for another time. We already have a question from Ken Wall from Chicago. Thank you, Ken, for your question. Before we answer his question regarding permanent residency, and Ken is also an alumni. He's telling me now that he did batch 499. Hi to all the alumni. If we have other alumni from that batch at that time, very happy to have you back here. I would like to close first the topic of digital nomad because, as you said, Iure is the most trendy, also because it's the most convenient for most, the quickest and the cheapest in most of the case. So before we answer Ken's questions regarding permanent residency, because I believe that it's another topic, right? Digital nomad visa usually is for determined periods. It's 1 year that is reconductable, I believe one time for another year. So it's 2 years in theory. You can stay legally and working and generate funds in Brazil. No permanent residency, as I aim to personally do. I would like to enter the topic while we close the digital nomad chapter. How many visa, digital nomad visa, Iure, did you apply for and get for your clients, let's say this year, in terms of numbers?
I think it starts the increase of the number of new clients. More than 3 dozen of new clients.
Wow.
Maybe one thing more. It's good to mention because sometimes the foreigner don't have the formal labor contract. Sometimes they work as a independent.
Yes.
But we have a service contract. With this service contract, it's possible to apply for a visa. Of course, you need to think about the number, the remuneration, but in the remuneration, you need to think that if the foreign company, name one foreign company, have the agreement form, of course, we need the formal agreement, but can be a labor agreement, labor contract, but can be service contract. So you be easy to apply when you have a service contract. In another thing that's important is sometimes I have a company, a foreign company. I work for my company. In this case, it's also possible to apply for a visa. And of course, you need to have a contract. So you need to draft your contract, you individual with your company, and both parties must be signed this agreement, the contract, and with that, you can also apply for a Brazilian digital nomad visa. So with formal contract, if you work for traditional company remotely, but also service contract, and also with your if your company, if you have shares in this European, this American company, for example, so it's possible. You need to take care for some formalities, but it's
Sure.
possible.
But many options for this digital nomad visa. Very interesting. I hope that we have been cleared about the options you have on this digital nomad visa that was the first and also the most, as we said, trendy and attractive. If you have more questions, please put it on the chat as we go on. I would like to answer Ken about the process of becoming a permanent resident in Brazil. As rumors said, and also heard the same rumors, so I guess it's both of us heard the same, that it might have been a bit true. You could get a permanent residency in Brazil if you obviously have a temporary one, if you already have this card that we talked about, the RNEM. How do you transform this temporary residency that is linked to a working contract, that is linked to a digital nomad, it is linked to an investor, startups visa that we're going to talk about, later on. How do you transform this? Because we tend to let me reformulate. We tend to mix up working contract and residency linked to a working contract, working visa and residency linked to a contract. I was the one that mixed it up and always talked about working visa. It's not exactly a working visa, right? It's a residency, a temporary residency that is given through a relationship that you have with a company based in Brazil. Is that correct?
Exactly. What I mentioned in the beginning, that when you have a digital nomad, you are linked with the foreign company. But if you want to work and receive money here in Brazil, you need to ask and you need to apply for another type of visa. In Brazil, you have different type of visa. If you married with someone, if you have a child in Brazil, even you can have a visa. If you have a business in Brazil, you have a visa. You can have a visa. If you exchange exchange university, you can have a visa. So it depends on what you have. For example, you are here in Brazil, then you working as a digital nomad. Okay, so after you receive a proposal to work in Brazil, in that case, you need to change your status and apply for another temporary, in this case, permit. So in that case, you will ask for to work visa, is a temporary, also it's a temporary visa, temporary permit, because when I talk about visa, it means that the right to arrive in Brazil. But after that, you have a need to have the residency permit. So you have a temporary resident permit with digital nomad, work visa, but you can have the possibility to have a permanent permit with the investment, with the marriage, with the union stable, and you can apply from here again. So you can change your residency permit here in Brazil. You don't need to leave Brazil and apply there. So you can apply from here.
Yeah, exactly. And now that you said that it is very different to be able to enter the country and actually receive money or make money in Brazil, it's two different things. Again, I'm going to take my personal experience. I came to Brazil as a student to study, and this visa didn't allow me to legally work. So I needed another type of visa to be able to have this residency permit, because it's only through a residency permit that you're able to have funds and actually receive money in legal work, as it is through the investors that we're going to talk about now, as it is through the VIE PVT, which my Europeans and French speakers probably knows. What else? The working contract visa, right? The basic. That is not at all linked to an external country, that is really Brazil, between Brazil. But you always have to have this residency to be able to earn any kind of money and actually legally work. And I believe that Ken's question was related to, okay, I have this residency permit for the time that my business relation as an investor or my digital nomad visa expires, but I actually want to live in Brazil because I love Brazil, my home is here, etc. For any kind of reasons, right? There are many. I really want to stay. How do you transform your temporary residency into a permanent? We heard, and I heard the same, that you can transform this temporary residency into a permanent one as you declare your tax, as you fill in tax declaration for some years, and you prove that you're inserted in Brazilian society, speaking the language and having like a social circle. Is that true? Is it fake news? Is there more? How do you go temporary into permanent?
Yeah, when you are in Brazil as a foreigner, you need to find the reason, and this reason you can look at the different type of residency permit. Maybe in that you can apply for citizenship, and citizenship is you don't have anymore after being a Brazilian citizen. You don't need anymore to apply for a visa, because you can enter and leave Brazil wherever you want. And for a Brazilian citizenship, you need to live in Brazil at least for 4 years. And you need to show that you're in Brazil, you pay your tax in Brazil, you have ability to speak Portuguese, so you need to show the Brazilian authority that you have some course that nowadays is really is the more easy than in the past. The past it was really complicated to pass the exam. Nowadays, the Brazilian authority, the federal police, accept the different types of exams and course that you can prove that you speak Portuguese. So you think about 4 years living in Brazil and show that you speak Portuguese. Of course, when you have some, as I speak as a lawyer, for example, you have the federal police explain that you need to get, in order to have the Brazilian citizenship, you need to be here with 4 years with the permanent permit, you know. But the immigration law doesn't say that must be permanent visa. Must the law said with 4 years. So sometimes you can go to the court and explain to the judge that I'm here. For example, I've been to digital nomad, and then I got a temporary visa as a work with the work contract. So I don't have all these 4 years with permanent visa, and ask to the judge that even so the federal police said in that norm that must be 4 years as permanent permit, but the law doesn't say that. So the judge normally can follow, doesn't follow the federal police legislation, no, and follow the federal law, So that, but of course, you can switch to the permanent visa. And normally, when you work for IT, you look that you see the opportunities in Brazil, and I can apply for investment visa. So with the investment visa, you can have the permanent permit. So in that case, you can work for your company, work for other Brazilian company. You are free to do business in Brazil, and you have in Brazil too the visa for startup. It's a kind of investment visa, and you can apply. Chloe, if you want to, you can explain a little more about that, this permanent visa.
Yeah, well, I don't have it yet, right? So it's also very interesting for me to have this kind of information for my future, and can ask which kind of court do you request this transformation to, from what kind of visa you have that is digital, or temporary visa linked to your working contract. To which court do you request the permanent visa? And is it the same permanent visa with citizenship? It is the same?
It's different.
Oh,
It's different. So you only can switch to a permanent permit if you are a foreigner, and you need to switch to those the other situation, the other type of permanent permit. To live without limitation, you need to apply for Brazilian citizenship. It's different. Once you are foreigner, there's another possibility. You apply for Brazilian passport. Only to get visa don't give you automatically the Brazilian passport. It's different. But when I talk about when you apply for Brazilian citizenship is not citizenship without 4 years as a permanent permit. I need to the federal court, the competent in where you live, But think about it's completely different. Resident permit and Brazilian citizenship is another way, is not procedure to apply.
okay, I think it was very clear. Thank you for answering, and I hope that we answered you, Ken. Good luck in your request, and let us know how it went, obviously. And as Milene, my colleague and your bootcamp manager, said in the comments, if you have the opportunity, please come say hi. We always love to see our alumni back home. I would like to go, you already said a few things about investors visa, startup visa. As I said, talking about Le Wagon, we are a community full of people that wants to transition and change lives to tech. The majority goes looking for a job, inserting themselves in big tech companies, and others give life to a lifelong project that they've thought about and that they can actually realize going out of Le Wagon and building those amazing companies that are super successful and answer tech related problems. And people usually, so they are entrepreneurs and they are wishing to know how they can implement their company, their startup in Brazil. What are the step by step for an entrepreneur, a foreign entrepreneur to start their business in Brazil?
Yeah, we have the rule. It's a investment visa. It's a permanent permit that you need to invest in Brazilian company. So you can invest in two ways: or you open a new company that you own this company, or you buy a company already created. The second condition that you need to invest at least 500,000 reais in this company. That means it's not this money is not for the Brazilian government. It's to your put in your future Brazilian company, to put in the Brazilian bank account of your company, 500,000 reais. You need to prepare a business plan that show that you create jobs in Brazil. But you need I need to stress that when you prepare and you give and show the Brazilian authority your business plan, it's that you in 3 years, up to 3 years, you create the jobs. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory to create jobs to ask the visa. You only need to show the Brazilian authority that you create jobs in the future, and the limitation it must be up to 3 years. In 3 years, you need to have those jobs created. So of course you need to the different and the same personal documentation, birth certificate, criminal record, give your passport, and for this visa 500,000 reais, and create jobs. This is the rule, but you have the possibility to apply for investment visa for startups. When you don't have or you don't want to invest at least 500,000 reais, so if you have only like 180,000 reais, it means that if you invest at least 150,000 reais, so you need to show that you need to create a job and to show the business plan. So the same condition as the traditional investment visa, but you can invest less than 500,000 reais. So you need to invest at least 150,000 reais. But think of that. The another exceptional condition is you receive money for Brazilian government. It's complicated, but you can. The another possibility is you are established in technological park in Brazil, or you receive the help from incubated company or accelerator company in Brazil. So one of these conditions, so incubated, accelerated, or your company, your Brazilian company is placed at the international tech park, this, I think it's the easiest one, because in Brazil you have a different technological park in different cities in Brazil, the big cities in Brazil. So with that, with the money in the creation, the business plan, and you have your company, you can you meet the condition to get your permanent permit.
Well, I hope that was clear about the investment visa. You can see that the time goes flying. So I will ask you, Iure, if that's okay for you, and if there are no questions, which I believe that they are not, regarding investments, that gives a permanent visa, right? As we said already. So quite interesting. Let's talk about quickly, because it's the most basic, and that is for our community, probably the one that applies the less in terms of options, which is the regular contract working in Brazil that gives access to temporary residency, as I did. So you need obviously to have a working relationship between you and a Brazilian company, but there are a few criteria, right, to be eligible.
Yeah, in fact, you need to sign a contract with the Brazilian company. In this case, you can receive the money from the Brazilian company. The term of this visa is up to 2 years, but you can renew and change to permanent visa. With this contract, you can change in permanent visa after 2 years, and after the condition is still knowing that the relationship with the Brazilian company, and something really specific, that 2/3 of the Brazilian labor force that must be Brazilian. So, of course, if you speak with the different Brazilian traditional company, most of them, 99%, they are Brazilian, the workforce in Brazil. So, but if you have a friend who a foreigner who will run a company, just start a company, it will be not possible. But if you engage a contract with traditional Brazilian company, that 2/3 of the workforce are Brazilian, you can have the possibility. It's not so complicated, but of course you have to receive the flag from the Brazilian company. They must explain that it's really important to engage you in Brazil, need your skills. They need to prove and explain why they are engaged instead of another Brazilian, another one. So, but sometimes you can explain that it's not something. The Brazilian authorities is not so rigid about that. They normally not.
Regarding the motives, right? As why the Brazilian company should hire you as a foreigner, as you said, and it's very important. The company, in that sense, is really important that they sponsor you, because they will have to prove and show a bunch of documentation proving, one, that the company doesn't exceed this 2/3 of Brazilian workforce. So you'll be the only, or maybe one of the 2 or 3, depending on the size of the company, foreigner worker registered in the books, and they will have to explain and motivate the fact that you are absolutely essential, because you bring some skills that are essential for their work. So that is why it is sometimes complicated to get to a Brazilian company that really wants to sponsor you. And an international company wouldn't have the opportunity to sponsor you for a working contract linked visa in Brazil.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because the digital nomad depends only you and the investment only you. And to the other side, this work visa depends on the Brazilian company.
Yeah, it's a two-sided contract. Um, since we don't have any questions regarding the working contract visa, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Europeans, because in this case, it's going to be addressed only to Europe and mostly French speakers, because I believe other countries in Europe are maybe not aware of those legal techniques and leverage that you can play in your favor to get determined visa. Obviously, if I'm not mistaken, it's 6 months to 1 year, and they are available for Europeans from 18 years old to 28 years old. So if you're like me, 27, take your chances to come working in Brazil for a foreigner company, but paid in euros. It is called the VIA and VIE for companies, and for administration, it is ruled by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in France. But those VIE, allow me to speak French for 3 seconds. This VIE and VIA, VIE for entreprise and VIA for administration, are open to Europeans, which is not the case of the PVT, Permis Vacances Travail, which is very, very trendy in France and helps a lot of French people come here in Brazil working legally and being paid in euros, which is not negligible, right? Considering the value of the euros and the real. And they obviously are determined visa permit that allows you to work for that determined company, and a bunch of characteristics, but are very interesting if you check the boxes. So have a look of the VIE, VIA websites. It's ruled by French government. It's really well made. It's available obviously in English, and it's open for all European citizens, so not so for the French. The French already has the PVT, which is working very well, and I'm sure that Iure, you've already had a chance to work and or at least heard of it, because it's quite famous in Brazil. But the VIA are opened for the rest of Europe under 28 years old.
Yes, exactly. It's the Brazil and France start this relation, bilateral relation. Then they start to have another countries. But of course, you have the traditional study visa. You know, if you work, if you want to apply for university in Brazil, to start here, you have the condition, but you have the specific type of visa with the France, for example, in European. But most of the time nowadays, it's work more with France, with this traditional, and is really something really special, because normally when you work here in Brazil, receive money from here, must be follow those rules valid in Brazil, but it's some kind of specific condition when a bilateral agreement. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish that Belgium has such a strong relationship with Brazil, but unfortunately, still not the case. But if you're a French citizen, please take advantage of these tight relations that are between Brazil and France. And if you're European in general under 28, have a look at the VIA options that are available. They have a bunch of companies that have already internship positions, something that we haven't said that's quite important. It's considered an internship, so it's paid consequently, and it's determined in time, 6 months. But it's something that it's much easier than that I think personally much easier, and also that have a whole frame between all this bureaucracy and all this paperwork, because French Ministry of Foreign Affairs already takes care of facilitating this opportunity and professional experience that you might have in Brazil. So if you're interested, have a look. Highly recommend. We still haven't had questions so far, so I believe we did a good job at explaining very clearly. Thank you very much, Iure, for your presence, for your time, for sharing all of your knowledge. I've obviously put your contacts and the contact of the firm, of your law firm, in the chat. Reach out if you want more information about how you two have a great professional experience in Brazil. Everybody's thanking each other in the chat. That's cute. Thank you again. If you're here, you obviously have registered to this event and have access to the replay of this event. You can check everything that has been said, because it's been a lot of information in the replay. Share it with your friends, family, neighbors, someone that you know that has been trying to visit Brazil, work, stay for a while. I think that it's not every day that you have a source of very important and valid information so easily. So take advantage, about this resource. I warmly invite you to follow the rest of this series about global talents. On Wednesday and Friday, we're back to talk more about how this community in Le Wagon switched up and is global and cosmopolite. So maybe we see each other later this week, I hope. And I will put now a link for you to check out the rest of our events planned for the next week that are related to data science, data analytics, and everything regarding AI. Check our next events. It's on the chat. Have a look. You might find something that is interesting. It's completely free. It's completely remote. So if you want to learn something new, be very welcome to participate. And I wish everyone a very good afternoon. And thanks a lot, Iure, once again for being with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Le Wagon. Thank you very much, Chloe, everybody that assists us.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon, people. Ciao.
Bye.